and I was constantly irritable. I was drowning, having to make content on top of that, like just overwhelmed with the laundry pile.
Exactly. I mean, it always gets to that point at, in a business that's growing where you have to just acknowledge you cannot do it alone.
No, this is more than I can do.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Splitting Seams. My name is Shannon and I am your host, and today we will be interviewing Lauren Mormino. But before we get into that, we need to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room that, oh my gosh, this is my first podcast. This is my first episode. This is my first interview. And I would like to report that my hands have not stopped sweating. And I don't know when they will. But I just want to say thank you before we even get started for listening, for supporting, for watching. However it is, if you're here listening to this, that is a form of support. And thank you so much. This podcast was a long time coming for me, although I didn't really realize that until a few months ago. But here I am. I'm doing the damn thing. For my first episode, I wanted to have someone on that, one, I felt comfortable with, but also, two, I just knew I wanted to have on the podcast. And the special thing about the first guest is that Lauren was actually the first person I told about the podcast. She asked me a question about something completely unrelated, and I was like, you have my attention, and I cannot get this idea of this podcast off my mind. I had truly been laying in bed thinking about names, thinking about guests I'd want to come on, all that stuff. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so I decided to float the idea to somebody else. And Lauren and I have been friends for over 2 years now, and we have developed a really good friendship with one another where we have a mutual understanding and trust of one another that I think that it's really, it's a really comfortable friendship where I know that if I ask her opinion on something, I'm going to get her honest opinion as gentle as she can provide it, and the same. And I think that's a mutual thing. And I really value friendships like that. And so I asked her if she thought it was a good idea. And she said, oh my God, yes, Shannon, do it, please. I have chills. I'll sponsor you. She was so supportive, so gung-ho about it. And I was just really over the moon that somebody even thought that I was even capable of doing it. And that was one of my big questions from her is not so much should it exist, but is it okay that I'm doing it? And she was so supportive. And I just truly appreciate that about her. And so for those that don't know of Lauren Mormino, she is a really big name in our small indie bag making community, where she has a YouTube channel. She has a business that essentially has all the products that we need to make bags. She has a sewing studio where she hosts people to teach and then students to come in and be taught from that other teacher, not just herself, but other people as well. And she's just been really a huge part of this community since well before I was even making bags and I was even a part of this group. And, she doesn't take that lightly. And she also she cares so much. And so she's a great friend of mine. And I think that we had a really good conversation, and I really hope that you enjoy it. It is my first episode, obviously. So we did kind of bounce around a little bit, and you can kind of feel the awkwardness of the first 5 minutes, go down over time. And so hopefully that's okay. And so thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the episode. So for those that are listening, this is the first ever interview that I've done, the first ever podcast I've ever done. And I just told Lauren that my hands are profusely sweating. So this is going to be great. We're going to do this. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. So thank you, Lauren, so much for joining me on this journey. I have no idea what this episode is going to be, but we're just going to do it. And I hope that it turns out great for you as well. You enjoy it. Yeah. So many people in our bag making community know who you are, but of course, there are people that don't. So can you please introduce yourself for those who don't know who the infamous Lauren is?
That's a really tough question. I was worried you were going to ask me that.
I know. I mean, it's kind of mandatory, right?
Yeah. Okay, so my name is Lauren Mormino. I have been making bags for close to 10 years, if not more. I lose track of time.
Fair.
I started going live on Facebook making bags, and then our mutual friend, an amazing human, Nikki, was like, "Yeah, you could be making money off of this if you put it on YouTube." And I was like, yeah, okay, fine." So I started uploading videos, and I had been selling hardware for a little bit at that point, and it just kind of took off from there. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
just,
And so now
yeah.
I have some stats that,
Yeah.
it's my job to kind of throw out there for you. So
Okay.
you have 66,000 subscribers on YouTube. And
Which
this
is
is
pretty
all
cool.
rounded to the closest thousand,
Yeah.
we're in that
As of
category.
2025. Yeah.
Yes. 11,000 on your Sewing with Lauren Instagram. I know you have a couple of them. I didn't look
I
at
have
the other one.
2 at least.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I just have 2.
Mormino.
Okay. Yeah,
I did not look at that one. Shame on me.
it's okay.
31,000 members in the Sew Whatever Facebook group.
Cool.
And you have a sewing studio with 16 industrials, right? Plus
Yeah,
some
yeah.
extra industrials that you like to sprinkle around occasionally.
It's true. Yeah.
And in that studio, you allow teachers like myself to come and teach in that space, and then you support them, which is honestly, you're putting them on a platform, and it's really awesome and really amazing. And it's
They
truly
deserve
like
it.
the best place to go if you want to learn how to sew on an industrial or just kind of have a great weekend just making some bags in a room that's
Yeah.
perfect for it.
Yeah.
You have a huge product line, right? You have a huge merch line too. You
Yeah.
have employees. You have had various numbers of employees throughout the years, So like
Yeah.
you just had a shit ton of growth, over
Yeah.
these 10 years. And that's just like crazy. And so
Yeah.
one of the big questions I had for you was like, when you look back on your journey, was there one big moment that stuck out to you that was like, holy cow, I think I might have made it a little bit. I just did that, like I've got to this point of like, oh, that's I've done it.
I feel like a deer in headlights because
That's
I
fair. We
don't
can
think
come back
about
to
it
it.
that often. No, that's good. I don't feel like I often sit and think about where I was, what I was doing. Like, people often say, like, "Oh my gosh, do you remember when this?" And I'm like, "Whoa, yeah, I guess I do." I just feel like I'm going with the flow so much that I just see it as one big fluid pile versus like this happened and then this happened and then this happened. So it's kind of interesting. I can't think of one pivotal thing that I was like, "Whoa."
I mean, I
I don't
guess
know.
I could understand that. I mean, you've had so much growth, over these last 10 years, and
Yeah.
it's it's always fluid and changing. And so along the way, as much as you might want to celebrate one moment, you have 10 other things lined up that you can't let fall to the wayside, you know.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's got to be stressful, always kind of planning the next thing. Do you find yourself ever having those moments of being like, I know it's expected of me to do more things, but I don't know what to do?
Yes.
Um,
Definitely.
like, is it more of like a product thing, colored, or is it more of just like, I'm not really inspired right now?
I think definitely recently I've gone through this, like, I'm not inspired right now, and I think it's just besides life, it's also just, like, there are so many businesses out there doing so many things that overlap, and I'm one of those people that doesn't like to step on other people's toes. If somebody else is already doing something, I would rather not, or I'll find my own way to do it that feels natural to me. And so, especially recently, I was like, none of this feels natural to me. Not, I,
Yeah.
Having to constantly pump out monthly releases, twice monthly releases, etc., was all to um, support employees who, looking back, maybe didn't, I don't know, you know,
No,
didn't
go ahead. Keep talking
need the
about it.
support or didn't deserve the support. I don't know. That's what it feels like in retrospect.
Right.
It may not be true, but it's kind of where my thoughts lie, where it was just like, man, I was giving so much to them and I wasn't thinking about myself and I wasn't giving me what I needed.
Right. I think that's
Yeah.
really hard in a position like you. And so one thing I didn't say at the beginning of the episode, kind of how we knew each other, which is probably
Oh, yeah,
important to
that's true.
share, but we
Yeah.
met through a mutual friend, Kira. Kira was like,
Yeah.
Laura needed to be friends with this person. And so, and that was it. And then from that point on, we were good friends. And so over the
Yeah.
years, we've had these conversations where, you had to learn, not that you didn't know how, but you had to develop the skill a little bit more. You had to really hone it of setting boundaries and recognizing when you're given too much or
Hmm.
to people or a way of yourself to the
Yeah.
general public, like
Yep.
you had to learn a lot of that boundary setting. And I feel like, I think I've told this to you, like 2025, this is the year of the boundary for Lauren, and I love that for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Recently you shared this video about how you were like, I have been doing these twice a month releases for a while and I didn't even want to do it. So I'm not going to do it,
Yeah.
and like that
Yeah.
is so empowering for you and
Yeah.
for other people. And I think that it's
Yeah.
really healthy that you can recognize that, um,
Yeah.
and it's tough. It's really tough to be a business owner in a tight knit community where it it is presented as not being competitive, but it is inherently competitive in the way of like,
Yeah.
I need to stay relevant. I need to stay
Yes.
active. And how do I do that? And it's exhausting
Hmm.
sometimes because sometimes you just want to make, sometimes you just want to do, you just want to pack orders for a day, you don't want to
Yeah.
have to be a
Hmm.
person, you know?
Nope. Yeah. Lately at work, we've been folding fabric and I've been watching Supernatural and I'm like, these are the best days ever.
Exactly.
I just want to watch Supernatural. I just want to fold fabric and put them in bags and label them and then put them back on the shelf and then start over.
So I can rewatch Supernatural over and over and over again, but I really want to skip the season of the Leviathans like every time I rewatch it.
Really? I don't know
So
why that's one
much.
of my favorites. That's one of my favorites.
Oh,
That's so funny.
I cannot
Yeah.
stand them. I was like,
Yeah.
was this during the writer's strike? Like, what happened here? Like,
It's
that's,
pretty messed up. Yeah. I think it's one of my favorites because it's some of the funniest
oh, yeah, for
for
sure.
me.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember when I was getting my son into Supernatural, and I had to go through like the greatest hits to get him hooked, So of course Scooby
Yeah.
Natural was like number one, But
Yeah.
then the one I forget, I don't remember the name of the episodes, but the one, spoiler alert, when they go back and when they are in an alternate reality,
Mhm.
where they go and see themselves as their actors and stuff.
Yes. I think it's called The French Connection
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. It's the name of
Poor
the
Dean
episode.
is broke.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the one where he gets scared, is also
Yes.
amazing. We love Supernatural for sure. It's hard
Yeah.
not to love. And you've
Truly.
been to a lot of conventions where you have. I know we can see a tiny glimpse of your basement,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah.
going down the stairs of your basement is this wall of
Yeah.
fame, and it's amazing, of like just pictures of you with them and other makers too, and the My Favorite Murder, is that
Oh, yep.
the
Yep.
name of the
Yeah.
podcast? Yeah.
Yep.
um
Yeah.
I think that's awesome that you get to do that. You used to sell at
Yeah.
conventions too, right?
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say, like, pop culture was a huge part of my job, and staying on top of pop culture and relevant to TV shows and fandoms and things like that was, I mean, that was a huge part of my job. I would design fabrics based off of those fandoms. make items to then sell at conventions, and I would do at least 4 a year and up to 8 or 9,
That
I
is
think.
bananas. That's so
Yeah,
much work. I
it
mean,
was. I did that from like 2016 to 2019,
and
give or take.
so by 2019, your business was already established. You already selling hardware, already had patterns
Yes.
at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
lots.
and so I know that you accidentally signed up for a convention a couple years ago. I think it must have been in 2024 because you made a bunch of rosies.
Oh, yeah, God, was that? Yeah, it must have. Yeah. Yeah, I think I paid the deposit the year before, and then I remembered, and they were like, "No, you have to come," and I was like, "Oh, shit."
Yeah, I remember like watching. That's crazy. And by that
Yeah.
time, I mean, so that would have been in early 2024, and
Mhm.
yeah, because that wasn't I don't remember enough details about anything to even begin to speculate where this was located. But
Yeah, it was in Chicago.
so I was going to say Washington, but that's
Yes.
the other event
Nope.
you went to.
Yep. Yep, that's the sewing one. Yeah, C2E2 was the one show that I was going to continue doing, even though my business had been flagged for, copyright infringement. So there was a day the
From the
year
convention
prior.
itself?
No, I don't know what happened necessarily or how our website got flagged because we had removed a lot of the bulk, like, excessively copyright themes from our website, but someone maybe had a bone to pick and they sent it. I don't know, could have just been a fluke, but we got a letter or like an email from Shopify that was like, "Hey, you've got some, copyright infringement for these couple things you need to take down." So I took those down and then he was like, "No, again, I'm telling you, you've got these things." And I was like, "Well, a lot of that is parody or satire, so I'm not
And
sure what to do." And then all of a sudden one day our website was off.
gosh, how long did that last?
It was I wanna say it was like 3 or 4 days where we were like, "We are going to delete them. You just didn't give me enough information or enough time," and, like, we just wiped everything, anything with a photo of, like, a strike bag with Golden Girls, this, that, the other thing. I was like I wiped it. I even thought about starting a new website, and, like, got the works to do that through another, platform, but I remember the day it happened, I was driving into work and I like, almost fainted when I got there
Oh
seeing the
my.
email, and then I just took my shirt off in the in the middle of the office, and I was like, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out." And, like, it was right before May, I think, because we were gonna have a release, and I posted a video like, "Hey, we're having some website maintenance issues. We're just gonna skip the release, like, just we'll postpone it a little bit." But no, it was like
Terrifying. I
it
mean,
it
that
was
sounds
it was
terrifying.
terrifying.
That
Yeah.
is your sole source of income outside of YouTube at that time, right?
Yes,
So
and the sole source of the income for my family because CJ was working with me, and we had all the employees at that time, every single one.
that and so you took everything down that had anything fandom based to it at all.
Yep, yep,
Hence
deleted
why
the listings
we
completely.
don't have any of those wonderful woven tags anymore,
Yep.
which is
They're still
understandable.
there, they're just mystery,
Yeah.
just
So
yeah.
don't we have a little bit of a um secret to tell those people that want to order those things on the website that
Yeah,
obviously can't see them? Just in
yeah,
there
you
like a
just send
note
us an
section,
email. Yeah,
email
you order you can email us and let us know, or you can add to the notes, like, "I want the ones with this on it." We'll hook you up because
telling
we
you.
still have
So
plenty of them.
your staff, we love them. Everyone who comes there loves your staff.
They're the best.
Tammy, I know you're going to listen to this. Everyone loves you so much. We
She's the
can't
best.
explain it. But I will say the number one employee, Lauren, I'm sorry, you don't take this spot. It's definitely Dorothy.
It's true.
So
Yeah.
for those that don't know, Dorothy is her daughter. How old is Dorothy now?
Yeah. 5.
I was going to say 4. God.
Ugh, I know.
She is hell on wheels, and we just love every second of it. She is so clever, so funny. She is a great artist. She,
She is.
like there are people, there's this whole thing about like talent versus skill and stuff. And I think I don't know where I land on all of that truly, but she definitely has that inherent talent that just a little
Yeah,
bit of skill development's going to really have her soar with.
it's gonna be crazy. Can I get up and show you something that she made?
Yes,
I just saw
please.
it today. I was like, "Oh my god, this is hilarious." Okay. Ashley Florak has all those little 3D printed animals,
Hmm.
and I bought tons, and Dorothy made this.
Oh my gosh. Is that like a little environment for them to play on that she drew?
Yes.
That
Yes, and then she glued them to the paper. One just fell off. But I looked over at her desk and I'm dying laughing because, yeah, you know?
I love that. She is so creative. And I've seen you with her on many an occasion, and
Yeah,
you do a great job of like doing that gentle parenting. I'm not a
yeah,
gentle parent. I wish I was. It's just not in
yeah.
me. I want to
It's fair.
be, but
Yeah,
I envy that you have that skill with her, and that's awesome. But also, like
took a
you,
long time.
true, true. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not that bad, truly. I
No.
should give myself
Yeah,
more credit. But
yeah,
yeah, I definitely when he was younger, I didn't have that in me yet.
yeah,
I had, we had a crazy first 5 years of his life. And so I was like, I want it, I can't do it. But I
yeah,
envy that. And I think it's so great. But you also bring her in and you let her be a part of the business in a way that's really awesome. When I always see business owners like yourself show their kids their business and their success and them being a boss lady, like I just think that alone, just the like, this is me being a boss of a business that I built,
mm, yeah,
and having them bear witness to that and see that they can do that themselves, so that they can
yeah.
be, it's so amazing. And I think about that with my son too, that I can, that he's
Show
old
him.
enough to where I can explain those things, and he's starting to understand truly the kind of commitment and depth that goes into it. And
Yeah,
it's awesome.
it's a lot. So my grandmother, she ran a photography studio with her husband. It was Froman Photography. That was their studio. They did photos. She did photos even after he passed away for like another 20 years, probably. Maybe that's more than reality. But so she ran her own business. And then my mom started a medical transcription company and ran her own business from home as well. It's in my blood.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
awesome. My
Yeah.
aunt was the only one really that was like an entrepreneur, and they had their own business. And I do remember seeing like how hard she worked. She had an AC, heating and cooling business. And so like
Oh,
we'd be
wow.
on the road to and from school or something, and she'd be phone and like trying to write and drive with her knee. Not that any of that is safe, but that's what she did,
No,
and it
it's
was
what you
like,
have to do.
it's what it takes.
Yeah.
You have to be able to switch and manage and juggle at all times. And I think that you've
Mhm.
honestly done a really great job. And it's been tough too, because like, I mean, of course, others don't know, but a lot of your employees and your family has been a huge part of your business. And
Mhm.
finding that work life balance is never an easy thing. And so for you, you had CJ come in to the business. And so can you tell me a little bit about what his position was, and like how you guys kind of came to that decision, managed it, and then what has happened since then?
Yeah, so it was 2023 July timeframe. We were working on the summer project box with Sincerely Jen, and it was it's so hard. I think postpartum depression and anxiety for me went on way longer than it should have, or maybe it inflamed a lot that was already there, because I think back and I'm like, fog state for
Yeah.
some reason. I don't know. But we were doing the project box, and I am a people pleaser, and we had like over 2,000 people say they wanted to partake in the project box. So I did my best to order for that many boxes. It was an insane amount. And so with the money going into that and just the work associated and trying to get, you know, employees legitimized, things like that, I was just drowning in all of the responsibility that went along with it, having to place orders and keep track of inventory and like just every single thing that wasn't necessarily day to day packing orders,
Yeah,
this and that, fell to me, and I just needed help, and I was constantly irritable, I was drowning, having to make content on top of that, like, just overwhelmed with the laundry pile of
exactly. I mean, it
things.
always gets to that point at, in a business that's
Mhm.
growing where you
Yeah.
have to just acknowledge you cannot
This
do it
is
alone.
No, this is more than I can do. And so my husband came on to kind of help legitimize employees and make sure that day to day things were more taken care of. And he really helped with, getting employees set up, getting our website a little more fine tuned. He'd help with finding apps that we needed. He helped with the financial aspect of things and just all of that, all those aspects. And then um, during 2024, it kind of became a little more apparent that I was in over my head financially with sales being lowered.
Yeah.
So we were down maybe 20% on average from the previous year, which when you're like, oh, 20%, it's like, well, 20% is a lot.
It is.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then coming into 2025, again, sales are just down. And I did everything I could to try to boost it while staying true-ish to myself, because there's some advertising I just don't agree with. I don't agree with sales consistently. Like, there's just a lot that didn't feel right. So, we kind of came to the hard decision of like, I am drowning once again, but in a different way. I feel like you've helped so much to get us to where we need to be, but like it's time for you to find your own thing that makes you happy and so that our family is having money come from not
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah, because you honestly, especially this year in 2025, when everyone's income is kind of unknown and the future
Mhm,
of costs of things is also unknown, the first thing to go are hobbies.
mhm. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
people will put down their hobbies for a year when they know they can't afford it, or they'll use what they already have for that hobby when they know they can't
Right,
afford it. So
absolutely.
that's an
As they should,
and
you know?
exactly. I mean, you can't blame them for it, but
No.
that is the part of the
Yeah.
risk of being in business for a hobby based kind of
Mhm.
um,
Yep,
you know,
absolutely.
whatever it's
Yep.
called.
None of
Um,
what I sell is an absolute need.
yeah,
It is not a necessity.
right, exactly. And it's tough. And so many of us, there was a big boom in the sewing world when COVID hit because people were
Yes.
like, sewing isn't that hard because I can make masks. People are like, well,
Mhm.
if you can make masks and you have this leftover fabric, make a pouch. And we all know that the pouch is the gateway drug for a
It's the
bag.
gateway drug. Yeah,
We know
I
it.
love that.
And we know that like the second you make a successful zipper pouch, you're like, I'm in. That's it.
I did it.
Now I
Yeah.
need to buy every single zipper. I literally have, I'm not even joking. I have zipper pulls everywhere. I have one that ended up downstairs yesterday. I have one that I just pulled from my sewing machine. Like, we have them. We all went buku. But then also at the
Yeah,
same time during COVID, when we had this big sewing boom, we had a big boom in the custom world when it came to custom hardware, custom materials, and like an expansion of that, right? So vinyl became
massive.
popular, various
Yep.
different bases became popular. And so it makes sense, right? That all of us would have this big boom. 2023 was also my biggest year. And so
Yeah.
then there was a slight decline in 2024 and then again in 2025. And that's, there's always waves when it comes to businesses
Yeah.
like that. Um,
Yeah.
and so that's got to be tough to, especially with you having both of your incomes based in your business.
Yeah.
And so now he's not working with, he has his own job now. He
Yes.
is working somewhere else. And
Yep.
have you felt like there's been an improvement And I mean, I already know, I'm asking this question, but I already know you
Yeah.
have set up this environment at your work now where like you are no longer drowning, right? Like you're just
Yeah.
loving it. But is he
Yeah.
enjoying that? And how has that been at home?
I think he's been enjoying it for sure. I don't know that it's fully infected our home life just yet. Just because now I've taken back on all of the responsibilities
That's
that I
true.
had previously. It's easier now though. Dorothy is not waking up. Well, she is, but she's not having midnight feedings and this, that, and
Yeah.
the other thing to where it's like that much more daunting. But I've just this past 2 weeks, I've been leaving my laptop at home so that I can do computer work at home and I can do warehouse work at work. And that seems to be helping immensely with my workload, except like there isn't as much home time if it's not putting Dorothy to bed in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Like that's what we do, and then I'm gonna go work on my computer sometimes till 2 in the morning, um, but it gets it done. So
I mean, the work life balance is always a fluid thing, you know, especially when you
mhm.
have a young child and the difference between a newborn and a 5 year old is immense. But so is the difference between
Yeah.
a 5 year old and a 10 year old, you know?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And but the same thing with your business too. You know, like
Yeah.
your business is 2 years old, looks way different than your business when it's 10 years old. You know, and so
Yeah.
you have to adjust, but things along the way become automated, which becomes easier. But then
Yeah.
again, the stakes are a little higher also with the growth too. So
Mm.
that's got to be a challenge, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, so on your YouTube channel, you do tutorials. You do kind of like, it's not a tutorial when you cut out the bag. What do you call it? Just a
Cutting
cutting out the
video.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you do lives and stuff like that. And so you've been
Yeah.
doing YouTube lives and YouTube videos since 2019 is when you said, or no, was it later than that? Earlier?
2018,
Nice.
2017.
Okay.
I think I started my channel in 2016. Like, it's been a long time.
Really? Wow. And so
Yes.
you've grown it so much and you have a loyal following. And I think
Yeah.
so much of that, and I wanted to bring this up because it ties back into what we were talking to before. So on your YouTube channel, you are so authentically you. And I think that that's so important. And I think that a lot of people really resonate with that. I'm a big proponent of just being authentically yourself. I think that it's just infectious in that way. Um, but for you, you know, that it makes so much sense that you had that realization, you know, with CJ needing, kind of essentially suggesting him to get a different
Yeah.
employment
Yeah.
because you recognize that you were becoming an inauthentic part of yourself. It just felt too
Yeah.
different, and I think that that is so awesome. But I have to say that like being authentically you, especially because I know you personally and I know that you feel things quickly, sensitively, and deeply. um
Yeah.
and so, but you're also such a people pleaser that it's hard for you to push that on anyone else. So I have to
Yeah.
imagine there are times in your YouTube journey where that's just really been like hard, like when you're struggling behind the scenes, but yeah, you still have to be on camera, you still have to do all this stuff. um
Yeah.
do you find that like it has gotten any easier to kind of put that mask on per se to kind of hide a little bit of the struggle, or do you feel like nowadays you just don't even want to hide the struggle?
I think I'm to a point where I don't care to hide the struggle. Um, and it was when I recorded that video that I was like, that I'm done. Like I was about to go to bed and I was like, you know what? I just got some things to say. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna record it. I'm not even gonna edit it. I'm gonna upload it. I'm just gonna say what I need to say because I think that inspires other people to be like, what? Why am I doing this? What am
Mm-hmm.
I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why who am I doing it for? I don't really understand. So, I think the comments on that video really made it that much more worthwhile because hearing everybody say like, yeah, I'm struggling too," and like, what it you know? Yeah.
It is so tough. And like, I know when you posted that video, I immediately texted you you know? And I think what I said to you is that I don't necessarily think that I'm proud of you because
Yeah.
I already knew you were doing this. I already knew it was going to
Yeah.
happen. I'm just happy for
Yeah.
you that you shared it, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I already knew you were going in this direction. So I felt that pride earlier
Yeah.
this year, you know, and I just, again, I want to applaud you on that because I think it's so healthy to recognize and share that. And, you
Yeah.
know, especially, you know, in your case too, where to be honest, it's your personality and you that has grown your business to where it is
Right.
now. You are a pillar
Yeah.
of our community, and it is, I think it's refreshing when people can see that you're looking inward for inspiration, right? Like there
Yeah.
are a few makers that are going to be on this podcast that they source their inspiration from within. They truly just do what they want to do and the way they want to do it. And people get
Yes.
behind that. They don't want
Mm-hmm.
three cookie cutter makers right in a row
Yep.
that are just doing the same thing as their neighbor. And I think that
Right.
you're a huge source of inspiration in our community for that very reason. Um,
Yeah.
of course, that's another thing to be on your shoulders now. You're welcome, in case you weren't aware of that. Um,
I'll forget it, truly. I'll be like, what?
I know.
What happened?
I honestly don't know what I said 2 sentences ago. So
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that for
I
us.
also like I try not to think too hard into that for some reason. I don't know. I still would rather just be like the girl in her basement making bags at midnight with her retainers in and a face mask on. Like that is who I am to my core. It's just like we're just here to make bags. We're just here to sew some things. Like I'm not a celebrity. I think it's more like your shirt, your micro niche internet celebrities.
Oh, I thought you were
Like,
talking
no,
about,
not that one specifically, but the one you have that's like
yes,
micro
yes.
celebrity, you know? It's to that point where it's just like I hate to be like, well, you're not because you may be an important person to people, but that doesn't make you a celebrity. That doesn't mean that you get to be treated differently than other people. That doesn't mean there's so many things that go along to it that I'm just like,
Yes.
no.
Yes. I think that the idea that someone becomes an influencer or a celebrity. And so the shirt she's referencing was a gift from my cousin, where I think that I always forget the order in which it says things, but it's like
Yeah.
micro niche internet celebrity. And it's
Yes.
hilarious. You know, every
So
person,
good.
it's just so funny because
Yeah.
my husband likes to tell my son that I'm a big deal to a small amount of people. And
It's
I'm
so
like,
true.
and I'm like, first of all, that's super flattering, but it doesn't keep me from holding myself accountable, and it shouldn't keep me from you holding me accountable. You know, like
Yes.
I still should follow the rules of being a decent human, and I shouldn't forget those things.
Right.
You know, that
Yeah.
I started with. You know, they don't get to go away because now I influence people. You know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I really love that about you. And one of the things that you don't really do are offer sales. And there's so much pressure from society, you know, to offer Black Friday sales
Mhm.
or Prime Day sales
Yep.
now that are somehow twice a year. I don't understand how that happened, but
Right.
um, they're probably more often than that. I wouldn't know. But
Yeah.
I mean, I understand and I respect that too because you know I offer sales a few times a year and it does bring in sales, but at the same time,
Right.
it's like I still value my work at the full price.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's so I used to sell enamel pins.
Hmm.
That was a huge portion of my business,
And they're
and
amazing, by the way. I've seen them.
oh, thank you. Yeah, and I used to put them on sale. I'd be like, "All right, we're gonna do a 50% off sale." So then d during normal times, nobody's buying them because you're gonna
Exactly.
put them on sale.
Yeah.
So I think, you just devalued your own work and you've let people know that you're going to have a sale at some point, so they're just gonna wait. They're just gonna be like,
Yep.
"Well, I'll wait till you put it on sale. I don't need it that
Yep.
bad." And so I stopped selling enamel pins for that reason. I was like, "Well, I'm selling them at cost. This isn't doing me any good."
Right. Yeah. What's the
So,
benefit now? Like it
yeah.
benefits customers, but I'm also running a business and you can't give
Right.
things away for free all the time when you run a business.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
it's the it's the part of things that nobody wants to hear, but it's the
Mhm.
reality behind it, you know? Like
Yeah.
I'm happy to facilitate these products for you to purchase. But at the same time, I just cannot do that and not survive on doing that when
Right.
it's my career. So
Yes,
it is tough.
exactly.
And
Yeah, and I struggle with pricing as well for that
yeah,
reason because I know how much things cost. I know, how much work goes into making things, and, like, since I sell to makers who are then trying to make money off of it, it's just a hard place to be, so I have kept my prices the same despite costs increasing, and I wanna keep it that way for as long as possible because, it just gets to a point where you're like, "Well, like, I just can't afford that unless you put it on sale." So
mhm,
it's like, well, if you can afford to put it on sale, why don't you work harder to try to offer that sale price more consistently and just be transparent about it?
exactly. One of the things you
Yeah,
said that I find, and you know this, and that I find very valuable is when a supplier or a business owner actually uses the products they sell, or understands, how that product would function in the use case in
right,
which they're selling it for. Like,
right,
I get it, not everyone can use every single piece of hardware or material
right.
that comes through their shop, but
Yeah,
if you're going to be buying products and then reselling them, you need to have an
yeah,
understanding. And I
yeah,
really appreciate about that for you, especially when it comes to, like, you have what, three weights of Lux vinyl: regular Lux, accessory
yeah,
weight, and then
yeah.
mid weight.
Mid-weight. Yeah, we kind of have gone away from accessory weight because the mid-weight works better, and we have found that over time because using the materials.
Yes, exactly. And there's
Yeah,
just so much value in it. But, one of the things you were talking about is, understanding also that you are a maker selling to other makers. So you know how much it costs. When you look at a bag and you're like, I love that bag, but there are so many pieces of hardware and there's so
yeah,
much material in there that, like, that's an expensive bag just to
yeah,
create. Um,
yeah,
and, you know, I fully appreciate that, because there are some businesses who don't factor in that, and instead they have some sales tactics, which really kind of hurts me to my core as someone who has a small business. And I'm a skeptic at heart. So, like, I don't fall for FOMO most of the time nowadays.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Unless it's a product that I love that I don't think I'm going to be able to get a lot, which is why I have so many rolls of clay vinyl sitting in my room
And
right
it's
now.
just yeah. The second you said it, I was like, "Oh, yep." Yeah,
But
yep.
there are some businesses that will make you think that you need this product right now, and they price it
Yeah,
at the absolute highest of their limit that they can, and maybe don't do sales. And it's like, I understand every business needs to make a profit, but at the same
yes.
time, please
Yep,
don't take advantage of my fellow makers. We're all trying to survive here, Like, there's a balance
yeah,
that you can find between profit and exploitation, honestly. And I think
yeah,
that not every business does that. And it kind of hurts my heart a little
right.
bit, and
Yeah,
it stinks.
and then in my mind, I also try to give grace to those companies because, like you said, we are all people just trying to afford day to day, and everybody has a different experience with money and with sales tactics that maybe they don't know that it's not the best way to do it. Maybe it feels authentic enough to them, and I just try to keep that in mind.
I want to be that
I
kind about it. I
you
love that
you
you
shouldn't
are.
be though. It's good. It's good that you're not because then I'm sitting here with people walking all over me that I'm like, "Oh, they didn't mean to do that."
Yeah,
You know?
I try to strike the balance. Like, I am a skeptic at heart, but I try not to be too gullible. But
Yeah.
most of the time, that only comes from being jaded, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know that, speaking of being jaded, so in the past, you've collaborated with a number of businesses, and
Yeah.
obviously you've had success with a lot of them, but there's been
Mhm.
other ones where, like, things have just not really working out the way that
Yeah.
anyone really wanted them to. And
Right.
so, you have touched so many businesses. You're probably one of the people for the guest list for the podcast that has touched essentially the most people across the sewing community. I think there might be somebody else that you would contend with. But still, so you've had successes and not, and I don't want to call them
Yeah.
failures, but learning
Right.
opportunities
Yes. Yeah.
with
Yep.
those. And so that's going to be tough, for you to kind of recover from. And there's a trust issue
Yeah.
too. And so
Yep.
nowadays, I don't know about you, but for me, like, the collaborations are a minimum, like it has to
Yep.
really be lucrative
Yeah.
for me, honestly, or I have to really trust that person.
Exactly. I was like, even if it's not lucrative, it's just like a mutual trust thing where y it's your reputation. It's what you've built, and some people don't see that, and it's not as important to them. And again, I try to go into like, well, that was never the initial intention, things like that. But yeah, I definitely am like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah, like
I'll,
I
yeah,
thank you for the offer.
yeah,
No.
yeah. And I feel like I'm at a point where over the last couple of years, I'm like, I feel like there are people out there who just want a piece of you. They're like, "Oh, I just wanna collect that. I wanna have you in my pocket. I want this and that and the other thing," and I can see it, and maybe it's not true, I don't know, but either way, I'm gonna be more guarded because of it, because I have let people in, or I've gotten into their pocket and realized, "I don't want to be in this pocket. I don't like this."
No, no.
Um, yeah,
But I mean, I think that that is one thing that and it just comes with time and experience, and
yeah.
especially when you're such a big part of our community, and so everyone does want a piece of you because you
Yeah,
are beneficial to them, and I think
yeah,
that it's also really healthy that you kind of have recognized that along the way, and it's almost
yeah,
always with some sort of cost associated with it too,
yeah,
and that's tough. So in one of
yeah.
those situations you kind of did what you do with your shirt right now. So your shirt, Sloppy Sewist. I want you to give us a little bit of a backstory about that, and then we're going to go into the next part that I want that to lead into.
Okay. Um, oh man. So I'll tell you the whole
Let's hear
story
it.
from everything I know. So I know I was laying in bed with CJ and we were watching one of the Marvel TV shows. Um, the one with the arrow guy. Can't think of his name. Not a big deal. Um, and I was just scrolling through Facebook and I get a message from Alexis from Rosa, and she was like, "Hey, I just want to say I'm so sorry about that post in the Genome HD9 group." And I was like, "What? What? What post?"
Uh,
And so she was like, "Oh." So I went and joined the group and I found the post, and it's this paragraph from this person who's like, I don't remember anyone's names that was involved. It truly doesn't matter. But I had bought the Genome HD9 during a time in my channel where I was like, "Oh, I think it'd be fun to, like, review, domestic sewing machines, how they work and this and that, and just kind of compare them for people," you know? And this person posted, like, this big bag maker made a video dissing the HD9, and, like, she didn't even read the manual. She didn't do this, and it's just so terrible that she's making it so people don't wanna buy the machine now, and it's so terrible. She's so stupid, this, that, and the other thing, and then ended it with, "Anyway, happy sewing." And I was like, "Oh, goodness
I can't.
gracious."
I just can't. I just can't believe how quickly people forget that they're in a public setting. Yeah.
Truly. I mean, I guess it was a private group with thousands of people, but whatever.
That's
So
not
then,
that's not private.
y
You know what I mean?
I
Like it's
did
set
what
to be private, but it's still a public setting.
yeah, I did what you shouldn't do, and I went into the comments.
Fun. I love that. That was a journey,
I
wasn't
think
it?
they were it really was interesting.
Mm.
And then it was the one comment that stuck out the most to me, that it made me laugh because of how true it was, and it was, "If it's who I think you're talking about, I don't watch her because I find her unprofessional and sloppy." And I was like, "That's true." I was like, "You're not wrong there." Anyway, so after reading a lot of the comments, I actually commented on the post and I said, "Happy sewing."
Good for you.
But I was mad, I was crying, I was angry, I was in my feels about it because I was like,
No, nobody needs to read that about themselves. Even though
I
doesn't matter if like
yeah.
if you can agree that there is some factual basis behind it, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's still never fun to read
No.
an unprovoked negative criticism of
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. But at the same time, I give people space for their feelings, and they're allowed to have their opinions, and
Very
they're allowed
true.
to not watch. That's
That
okay.
is very true.
Not everybody has to like me, and I don't have to like everyone. Those are things that I'm learning. It's okay. And so several things like that have happened over the years, some in bigger, more political feeling moments that hurt worse, and people, their real colors came out. But from that, I just was like, I'm gonna own that. I'm gonna turn that around. And so that's when I came up with the sloppy and unprofessional shirt, and like people bought it, which was so nice because they were like, hell yeah, you're sloppy and unprofessional, and it's okay because we're human. So that was kind of a fun time to exist and just be like, people can accept me for who I am and I don't have to pretend. Like, should I have read the manual? Yes. Will I be reviewing more machines? Absolutely not. That is not what I want to be doing. And I think all of that just kind of it led its way to what I want to be doing, which is industrials. That's what I know, that's what I like. And if you like domestics, that's cool. I'm not here to try to persuade you.
Yeah. It's very Taylor Swift of you to
Yeah,
turn the
yeah.
negative energy into something that you now own and claim and you get to
Yeah,
use and then
yeah.
profit from too. Like, what a swivel. I love that. Okay, such a
Yeah,
pivot. Um
yeah,
so there is another bigger thing. So I don't want to get into the political stuff because that was hashed out before, and I
yeah,
think that's just kind of a bit too much of a not fun topic. But I remember I was there, all that happened, and it was a dark time in our community, and but that's
yeah,
okay. There was a lot of learning and education and growth that came
yeah,
from that, and I truly think it was a beneficial thing for us. But then a couple
yeah,
years later, a big kind of there's a lot of misconceptions here with what happened and how you were involved, but there is a company, and just so that we know, since this is episode number 1, the goal is to not name names, but if you can fill in the blanks, that's on you. We're a small tight knit
yeah,
community here, but there
yeah,
was a big company that was hosting these really awesome conventions and it
yep,
allowed makers it's kind of like a moving version of what you are doing now, but
mhm,
in a different format for sure. So
yeah,
it's like you're
yeah,
hosting teachers. They're providing the kits and stuff for their classes and stuff, and it would be in various points in the country. And that kind of imploded on itself. And there was a lot of
mhm,
misconceptions as to like how big of a role you played in all those things. And
yeah,
we don't need to tell that whole story unless you feel like you want to. But kind of the goal of the
yeah,
like sloppy sewist, thought process was like you took something so negative and that was so impactful in a negative way for a lot of designers and makers and teachers, and you took it and you said, I see you, I hear you, and I know that you think I had some hand in this, and I'm going to tell you right now, the only hand I'm going to have in it is to turn it around and make something good for you. And I'm sorry that
yeah,
it happened to you. And I think
yeah,
that, again, when it goes back to you being this big influential kind of pillar in our community where, that's such a great example for other business owners, for other makers and things like that. And so, but if you want to get into talking about that, you're more than welcome to, but like, that was another one of those dark times, but like you did such a good job of pivoting it and it's really
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I'm happy to talk about it because I think it's important to not, kick it under a rug
Yeah.
necessarily, but I remember when the person organizing it messaged me. I was at a birthday party for my niece in DC, and she was like, "I can't have this event," and I was freaking out. And I immediately messaged my work group chat and I was like, "Here's what's happening. Can we host this event? Because I'm not messing around. This is a big deal to me. I know the power that I had to influence people to go to that event, teachers,
Mhm.
attendees, etc. I do not take that lightly in any way, shape, or form. And so to think that they would be disappointed in what I somehow led them to, I can't force people to do anything, is a huge deal to me. And so we were like, yeah, let's do whatever we can to host it here. Um, Another business owner friend was like, I am happy to bring domestic sewing machines, whatever you need, because like it's disgusting
It
what
really
happened.
was. It was.
It didn't have to go down that way in any way, like it didn't need to. She could have pivoted and had it at a different location. She could have been transparent and honest with people and letting them know what was going on behind the scenes, but that was a choice that she made for
So
herself. No one can
she
change that.
she essentially booked this location,
Mhm.
did the same kind of format, and like, this is going to be business as usual. And then
Mhm.
people put their kind of deposits down. People bought their tickets. They
Yeah.
did all these things. They booked their rental cars, their flights, their hotels, all those
Mhm.
things,
Mhm.
invested a bunch
Yeah.
of money. And then how long before the event was it canceled? Do you remember?
I feel like it was a month or
Like two
so.
months? Because like it would have been maybe September. I know that the
It was July. It was July 20th
okay. And
timeframe when she messaged me. Again,
oh,
I was traveling and it was my
yeah.
niece's birthday, which is the only reason I remember it, like
Yeah. You have
July
the
20th
environment
timeframe.
locked in your brain of like where you were
Yes.
when it happened. So I
Yep,
feel like,
the
I don't
stress
know,
responses.
like it was like maybe supposed to be in September, because I know that I went to the one the year before and that one
Labor
was in
Day.
September. It was right after the
Yep.
wizardry event. And that's where
Mhm.
we met in person the
Yeah.
first time. And so this event canceled. And then, obviously
Mhm.
a lot of people could not get their money back
Yep.
from just the travel part of things. But this person who coordinated this whole event, that was hosting this whole event, also did not give refunds or pay people or do what they were supposed to do with the money and allocate it where it was supposed to go. Essentially, that person
From
kept it, is my
from
understanding.
what I understand, some people were able to get their money back. It wasn't literally
That's good.
everybody. If they've fought hard enough and they did the charge back, like, it was paid out, at least to some people from what I was watching. I'm not speaking for everybody.
Sure.
I know that I had invested my booth fee, but I did not try to get it back necessarily. Um, it it was a good bit of money, but it wasn't, like, so much that I'm like, "I need my freaking money back." It was
Yeah.
like, "I don't wanna deal with this." I I just want to try to move on. And so hosting the event was really fun. It was very stressful.
Mhm.
We tried to turn that negative into a positive. And during the entire thing, I was like, I just don't want to create something within the ashes. I don't want to try to come off like I'm saving the world. I'm such a good person. Like, I just want to host these people so that they can have their classes. That's
Right.
all, you know?
So your thought was more of like, I'm trying to give them relief and a way to recoup
Yeah.
costs, not
Yeah.
necessarily build upon somebody else's failure. But as a
No.
byproduct, it turned. I
Yeah.
was there. It was a fun event. It was
It
a
was
little
cool.
chaotic, and it was a little trying to fill in the blanks. What goes here? What are we doing? Bingo was
Yep.
crazy with the amount of gifts. But it
Yeah.
was it
Yeah.
was a lot of fun, and it was really
Yeah.
like everyone was so grateful. And so even if your intention was not to do that, and that's not what you wanted
Yeah.
to do, it was
Yeah.
still at least the source of what you've now created, and what you
Yeah.
did it again this year. I wasn't able to attend. We were all
Yeah.
sad about it. But
We missed you.
next year, 2027, no,
Yes.
no, that's 2 years. I don't know what year it is.
Yes.
I love that. But
I know.
2027 is the next one. And,
Yep.
it's great because, like, what I feel like this podcast, I hope, fills a tiny little hole in the community of like, we need this connection. We need this
Yeah.
reminder that we're all people and we can talk to one another. And yes, some of us are not great, but some of us are pretty good. And,
Yeah.
it's a really great opportunity to allow for that in this kind of big way that doesn't really exist in our world. We're a tiny little indie
No.
bag making community, like
Yeah.
we're small. And
Yeah.
And I think that what you did, I know from experience being there for the one that happened right after, because it wasn't even, that's the thing, from the time that it announced that like this event imploded on itself, right? To the
Yep.
time
Hmm.
that you hosted that event to provide relief for those people. I remember it
Yeah.
was the end of August, right? It was either the end of July, no, it had to have been the end of August because you wouldn't have been able to
The
do it in
the
2 weeks.
event was the end of August. The
Yes.
event was the end of August. Yeah. We announced it 1 week later. So like the first week in August, we were like, we're having this.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The first
We're
week
doing this. Yeah.
after we found out that like that event
Yes.
imploded, you
Hmm.
were like,
Yeah.
let's get our ducks kind of in a row enough to
Yeah.
announce it. And that it was such a quick,
Yeah.
because it's a huge event. I mean, you had a
Yeah.
ton of vendors, a ton of teachers, you had to
Hmm.
coordinate.
Yeah.
And then you had a bunch of people like me that's like, I just want to help.
Can I just come? Yeah.
Let me come and help. And you're like, can you teach? And I'm like, I mean,
I
sure.
can.
Also, I love to just support people. Like Lauren, you
Yeah.
know, at every event you're at or I'm at, I'm like, you
What
need
can we do?
me to take the reins. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to do it. But if you
We're
just
gonna
want to,
do it.
you just want to tell me to go figure something out, I love
Yeah.
that. I will do that. And then I'll come back
Yeah.
and tell you what I did. Like you've
Yeah.
handed off the reins, I'll do that. And
I'll
I
do
think
it.
that, you know, you've built such a friendship in this community and you've touched so many people that I know
Yeah.
so many people reached out to you for that
Yeah.
very
It was
reason.
pretty great. I will say too, there were other people from the original lineup of teachers that also hosted other events in a similar, you know,
I'm not connected enough to
capacity.
know that, but that's
That's
awesome.
okay. I just want to touch base that like it was not just me that was like, this sucks, let's do something about it. A lot of other people were like, no, this sucks, let's do something about it. So I think it was really wonderful that like, again, these subgroups could come together. And I just focused on bag making because that's what I knew I could host within my space. I already had the studio set up. So I was like, this is what we're gonna do.
That
Yeah.
I didn't even know that, and I love that. You know,
Yeah.
there are parts
Yeah.
of this community that sometimes are pretty toxic and like pretty negative, but then you know
Yeah.
you hear things like this, and people really step up and
Yeah.
really show that hey, you know, remind us that like not everyone is always the bad
Yeah.
guy, you know, and
Yeah.
I think that you know that's one thing that a lot of people just they don't you know when you become a member a person in the community. I always refer to it as a person. I don't want to be a person today, you know, I don't like that I am a person, you know, but I have to
Yeah.
accept that I am a person. And I
Yeah.
think that when you are you know an average maker in our community, which is the bulk of them, you know, people that know who these business owners are, they know who these popular makers are, and they don't know a lot of the like stuff that happens behind the scenes. And
Yeah.
so much happens that, you know,
So much
we
happens.
just can't put it on blast. We can't be like,
No.
you know, but it's
Yeah.
so nice when all the good things do get put on blast. It's such a reminder,
Yeah.
you know, that you need
Yeah.
to pull away from that toxicity a little bit.
Yeah. Good things can happen. Good things do happen. Good things are happening.
Yes. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
along the way you make friends, you know, which is really awesome to have too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um yeah. So I don't really have any end of podcast segments yet because we're this is it's just
We're
a
figuring
baby.
it out.
It's just a baby.
Yeah.
But one thing that you want to know from every person is what's their favorite same allowance. And I know your
Yes.
answer. I know your answer.
Yeah. What is
So
it?
you can say it first. I know it used to be a half inch, but then we have converted you to 3/8.
3/8 all the way. Yep.
It's like it's a great happy medium. It's enough to catch it in top stitching, and you don't got to trim if you don't really want
Yeah.
to.
If you don't really want to, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
How about you? What's yours?
Mine's changed. It was a 1/4 inch. That was my favorite. I even wrote the
Yeah.
Gaia with a
I
1/4
know.
inch, and I have
Yeah.
regrets on that. But there's no way I'm going to go and redo it as
No.
much as people
It
may
is what it
ask.
is.
But
Yeah. It exists the way it is.
yeah. I was releasing the Gaia. A fellow designer was like, Yeah, I like a quarter inch, but it's easier for people to translate 3/8 to a centimeter. It's close enough.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
so
That's
I was
good
like,
to know.
that makes sense. Yeah. So one of the things that I'm really big into doing for myself is I like to have like quick little like positive affirmations that I tell myself that really kind
Yeah.
of keep my mind in the game. Enough time to do it right, not twice is like big
Yep.
for me. And
Yep.
so do you have any other like reminders that you give yourself that you would like to share with guests that kind of help, just keep them in a positive way, keep them encouraged, and maybe like, okay, close the rotary blade, even if that change your freaking
Yeah.
rotary blade, like
Yeah.
things like that. Like, is there anything you want to leave as a parting kind of remark for our guests?
I would say just take it one step at a time. Like, that's one of the biggest struggles that I have when making bags is, like, I just wanna get everything done right now, right away, as quickly as possible, instead of sitting and enjoying the process. Because for me, filming tutorials, things like that, like, it has to be done, I have a time frame, but just being able to sit and enjoy the process and take it one step at a time is the most valuable thing.
Yes, I truly agree. Sometimes it's just you have to bite it off one piece at a time,
Mhm.
But when you first told me that, it reminded me about the wizardry getaway when I was DJ Tim Chula. I love that I
Yeah.
can never say DJ Tim Chula without stuttering on my own name every single
Your own
time.
name. Yeah.
Anyway, and I was introducing everyone, and so I don't even remember what happened, but I had said to you, said something along the lines of you not following directions, and it was so funny
Yeah.
because, of course, I did it on the mic in front of like 45, 50 people. And you laughed and you're like, yes, that's so true. But sometimes, but the whole time you were saying that, I was like, yes, because that's so true with my patterns, where it's like,
Yeah.
you have to take it one step at a time. You think you know what I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you to do two
You
steps from now.
don't.
You are very
Mm-mm.
wrong. Um,
Correct.
but for you, I think that that's so important for you, like taking that one step at a time, because at the beginning of the podcast, we talked about you didn't really have any moments where you felt like you were able to stop and kind of smell the roses a bit. And I think that's for you, if you can manage to remind yourself that, right? Like we're good about telling everyone else what you
Yeah.
should be hearing, but for you,
Yeah.
yeah, like reminding yourself that this is one step and you're getting ready to
Yeah.
move on from it. And
Yep.
so try and enjoy that step while you're in it. Right now you're
Mhm.
enjoying folding fabric and watching Supernatural, and like
Mm.
I love that for you. And but
Yep.
whatever the next step is, it is what it is. But you just gotta just kind of take it one day, one step, one seam at a
Yeah.
time, for sure.
Yep. Yep. That's all you can do.
One last thing before we go. How can people shop from you? How can people find you? How can people follow you? Give me all your socials. They're going to be linked below in the description, but of
Yes.
course, it's your job to tell us all those things.
Perfect. So moremeno.com, spelled out phonetically, more me no, is where you can shop sewing supplies and merch and sew whatever studio classes, things like that. I have my more sewing related Instagram, which is sewing with Lauren, and then a more business related Instagram, which is more me no. Oh my God. And then I guess I have the sew whatever studio Instagram that I constantly forget about.
It's
Yeah, and
understandable.
then yeah, YouTube, Lauren Mormino. Um,
I think you can also
email,
search just so
don't
whatever
contact me.
and you
No, I'm just
come up
kidding.
right away, right? What did you say?
I said, and then there's my email, but don't contact me. But I'm kidding.
Fair.
I'm kidding. I actually love responding to emails.
Me
It's
too.
weird, but
I
I
will
just love
ignore
it. Like,
DMs
ask me
all
a
day, but
question.
I'll respond to every email.
Yes, truly. I've gotten to the point. I used to answer them, and I'm like, no, no, no.
And so TikTok, we have the TikTok, tickety talk.
It's there, but I don't really do a lot with it. Every once
Same,
in a while.
same,
Yeah,
same. Well,
yeah.
thank you for sharing, everyone. Please go like, follow, subscribe, all those good things to all of her various platforms. And thank you for joining. Appreciate you being here on the podcast. Yeah, I look forward to having you back again.
Yay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. So I hope that you enjoyed that episode. I know that we kind of hopped around on topics a little bit, and maybe it wasn't the most fluid of a directed interview, but I promise I'll get better with time. But truly, I hope that this has helped you appreciate Lauren's authenticity and just how much she cares, honestly, and how much, it, and maybe that you have an understanding a little bit more of like, man, this is tough sometimes. And it's tough to be a boss lady, and it's tough to have the work-life balance and things like that. And I just think that Lauren is a really great person to kind of jumpstart this podcast, because she's just so authentically her, so honest, and is a really great example of someone who is just trying their best in all aspects of life. Also, don't forget that if you like the episode, you feel free to like, subscribe, follow, all those things. All of my handles are at Knotted Threads Co. You can follow the podcast on YouTube. There is a podcast section on my YouTube channel where this podcast will be. If you subscribe on Patreon, just remember your $5 tier supports the show, keeps the mics on, keeps the lights on, all that good stuff. And then if you are able to commit to $5 more, that gets you a couple extra perks along the way. The podcast will be uploaded to Patreon for them, which will allow you to have ad-free podcasts. You will have a shout out at the end of each episode. And then, of course, you will also get some behind the scenes content as well as some heads up of next episodes. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time.